Hey, good morning, Misfits. It is the Daily Awakening Call. My name is Sean Murphy. It is episode 470. It is June 5th, Friday. My name's Sean Murphy. I'm your head misfit. We've been doing this for, well, a little while, since December 18th, 2018. And it was a day that started because I said, I'm going to get out of my effing way. And the F stood for fear, frustrated, frightened, fatigued, or possibly the F we think it is. And the very first call, there was 18 people on it. They were friends. I didn't invite anybody. I just put a video out on Facebook and said, I'm going to get started. And I'll be darned if some people didn't get started with me. Some of you have been with me from the very beginning. Some of you have just joined us today. Welcome, one and all. The reason for the calls is to wake up, is to decide to get out of our own way, is to decide to stay in joy, to find a way to make your world happier, not through me, but you make your world happier, because that's the only world that exists, right? The only economy that exists is your economy. There's no global economy. There's your economy. What can you do to take care of you? One of the things that I've learned over time is there's a huge addiction to approval. And so I began studying that 25 years ago. I'm now certified and trained in it. I'm also a life coach. I'm still trying to figure out life. I don't know how anybody can get certified in it, but I guess I got that, and a certified coach in memory. So all of those certifications were given to a boy who barely made it through high school. Why am I here this morning? Because of you. Every one of you on this call inspire me to do more, motivate me to do more, motivate me to become more. So today the conversation is finding faith because it's already found you. Now we can do a couple of things. By some comments in the chat, we can have a conversation about the brain and understanding it, and wrapping our arms a little bit more around how to have conversations with prospects. Or we can do what we normally do and have some conversations that just say, hey, listen, I'm feeling a little stressed, or I'm feeling excited, or I've got some good news to tell, or I'm kind of out of sorts right now. I'm okay with any topic. Why? Because this is a place for you to bring your wants and wishes and see if we can't together help you do more, be more, have more. All hopefully by doing a little bit less. So if you've got some questions or have a comment or something you'd like to do, raise your hand. That's typically how we do it, and then we start a dialogue from there. But if yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can we just all send some love and prayers to Jasmine right now, who has lost her dad?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, RBP, might you say a little prayer for her? For all of us?
Yeah, hang on, let me get to a different place. Jasmine lost her father.
Yeah.
Is that what I heard correctly?
Yeah, she put in the chat that she talked to him on June 2nd. He was sick with a cold or flu, and on June 4th, she got the call that he passed away in his sleep. She said that in the chat.
Yeah. Yes, I would love to say a prayer and send some love. That's fine. Heavenly Father, I just lift up Jasmine to you right now. I lift up her and her family. I ask right now, Father, that you just give her peace, comfort her, wrap her in your love and in your joy. Send lots of angels to her right now, Father, and her family. Bring them lots of people with love and kindness and smiles and stories of her father and how he impacted them and changed their lives. And Father, we know to be absent from the body is to be present with you. We know he's in a better place. We know he's comforted and he's in a better place. Father, nothing can change the absence we feel here except your love and your joy. And I ask you to cover Jasmine and her family in that right now. It's not about understanding. It's just about feeling your presence and knowing that Jasmine got to be his father, his daughter. That was her father. Father, I just lift up this situation. I lift up everybody that's involved. I ask that you send your angels rushing to her. Lots of peace and love and joy, Jasmine, to you and your family. I'm thankful you're here today. I'm thankful you shared this with us so your family can be with you. We're your family, and we can be with you and we can love on you. And Father, I thank you that Jasmine is a part of this group and a part of this community. And I thank you for the addition that she brings and the love and the joy that she brings. Father, I thank you for today that we're all together to be able to celebrate his life with her as well as comfort her and join hands with her to let her know she's not alone. And I thank you for this moment. And we give you the glory and the honor in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Steph, thank you for bringing that up. That's that's my desire for this community, is to support each other, is to help those. And when you have a community this big, this global, things like that happen. So we all have a new angel to pray to and watch over us in heaven, that's for sure. Again, thanks for staying that. And Jasmine, prayers and hugs to you, my love. So, well, there's kind of the topic, finding faith. What do you do next? What's the story that gets played out? When we all know how much time is in the top of the hourglass. I mean, in the bottom of the hourglass, very few of us, I don't think any of us know how much time is in the top. So as we sit this morning and to send prayer and blessings to Jasmine, we've got sand that's flowing. What will we do with it? What can you do with it? What is the next thing that's on your to-be list? Not to-do list. We have plenty of things to do. What's your to-be list? Today you choose to be what? Today you choose to be who? Because we're human beings, not human doings. What's on your to-be list today? Where do you find your source to stand in today? In meditation, what are all the things that are flowing through your incredible mind? What's the feelings of faith and courage versus fear and doubt? Where does joy go when it's not with you? Where does sadness sit when it's not with you? All of these things are as close as your skin. It's what you choose to be a part of them as you sit there. So I would encourage you, let's take a couple of moments right now and send out some messages of love, of gratitude. Let's send out our 3 messages. I'd be sending out 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 messages. And if you got Jazzy on your IG, I would encourage you, just go send a message to Jazzy right now, even if it's just a heart, just something simple. And let's flood her inbox with some love and prayers and blessings and smiley faces. Let her know that she's not gone to us. See, when I turned 50, this may sound a little strange, but I kind of wanted to have people at my 50th birthday party show up and say things they would say at my funeral. What? That's weird. Yeah, because I don't want to have people forget while I'm living, only so they know to say things when I'm gone. I like to hear nice things. I like to say nice things to people. I like to call people up and tell them what I would say if they weren't here anymore, and tell them now. I would encourage you, what Jasmine shared with us this morning. Listen, we're all going to the same end of this game called life. The finish line is when we're no longer here. I wouldn't wait for the finish line to tell the people you love them. And so hopefully you're sending Jasmine some messages. You're sending other people just some hearts, because they deserve to know. You deserve to feel good when telling somebody you love them. I walk through my house on a regular basis and say, I love my family. And usually loud enough for people to hear it in other parts of the house. And usually you'll hear back through doors, and you'll hear back through the floor or wherever, I love my family. It's constant. When I go to friends' houses, when I get invited over, I'll usually say, I love my family. And they'll say, I love my family. And their family says it back. What they don't know is that they're part of my family. See, when love is said and when love is shared, it doesn't go to a boundary of family. It goes with whoever can hear. And I don't know if you know, did you ever remember hearing in science class that anytime sound is made, that video is made, that images that are made, and when they radiate out from the earth, that if you could take a spaceship and go faster than the speed of light, you could go out far enough to look back, because the light hasn't gotten out there, just like the stars that are billions of years old. There's some of their light is just reaching us, and they may have already been exploded. They've already gone through birth, life, and then supernova and turned into a black hole. Do you realize that we're just seeing some of those lights because it's so far away? If we could go back out, if we could go out far enough from the earth and we could look back at 1962, 1965, the year I was born. Sometimes my meditations go off on a sideways tangent. The reality is we're here in this moment. We get to send love to Jasmine. She gets to reminded that she's special to us. She's special through us. Every one of you is special to all of the others on this call. So, Jasmine, our prayers are with you. Your family's with you. And thank you for letting us be a part of that by sharing that. And IG, they're asking for your, I think I said, did I say IG they're looking for? Jasmine, they're looking for your IG if you want to, or somebody knows it if they want to put that in the chat for the rest of us. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Here it is, Friday. People are getting ready for the weekend. I don't know that there's a weekend anymore. I don't know that the things are the way they were, no longer are. But I would encourage you to make this weekend not W-E-A-K end. That's the challenge that I see with the weekend, having had businesses and being in a traditional businesses and being in this profession of MLM, me loving more. Many people turn Friday afternoon till Monday morning into the W-E-A-K end, the weekend. Now, you're all here. Many of you will be on the weekend calls that I do tomorrow and Sunday, and you don't have a week end. You just have a continuation of success on any day that ends in a Y. That I applaud you for, because you deserve it. There's people right now who are hurting, who are lost, who are concerned, who need you to do your weekend call. I know there's a young lady, Jennifer, who does calls on Friday evening. Her first call, I was blessed to be a part of her first call, and there was 13 people on it. And it was a powerful call, and it was her first call. It's okay for it to be your first call, your first conversation. Every one of you has a message. Every one of you has a vibration that people are looking for. Every one of you has a community that's waiting to find you, waiting to be a part of it, waiting to pour into you. And it says in a pretty good book, when two or more of you are gathered, there I am. In Napoleon Hill's book, he talks about the mastermind. When two of you have gathered, a third is created, and that's called a mastermind. It doesn't have to be 500, 1,000 people. It can be two. Two people who have a dialogue, not two monologues that bump into each other. Covey says, seek first to understand, then be understood. Listen with the intent to understand. Zig Ziglar says, sales is a transference of enthusiasm. Can you enthusiastically, in Theos, the God within, can you enthusiastically have a conversation with others and hear them? I have to applaud the young lady yesterday, the amazing soul yesterday, Bukumi, who had the strength and courage to share her story. It was a huge part of my yesterday, and it'll be a huge part of my everyday. Her amazing strength. Every one of you has an untapped strength. Every one of you has an untold story. I think now is the time for people to hear it. Yeah, but I'm not, and you fill in the blank. I would change that. I am, fill in the blank. I am strong. I am love. Why are you worthy to listen to? Why are you worthy to follow? Why are you worthy to have a community? Going back to what Epictetus says in the manual, decide what's within your circle of control. Decide what's outside of it, and then work as hard as you can on everything you can control. What is it that you can control today? What is it that is within your control? Not with what's outside of your control, not what you can't do anything about. What can you do something about? That was the big reason why I started this call December 18th, 2018. Because leading up to that, November and the beginning of December, I kept seeing things in our world, the networking world, where trainers and people were presenting themselves as the end all be all. And I couldn't sit in my armchair anymore and go, well, that's crazy. That'll never work. And the day that I said this, my body was physically shaking. I had had enough. Some of you have been to your days of you've had enough. To where you just, the answer of the idea, the thought of accepting anything less than what you have to offer is not even, it's not even fathomable anymore. You can't even be, you couldn't imagine being stuck in that place anymore. Well, with all of the recent things that are happening around the globe, many of you are reaching that point. It's the day you've had enough. And this is when great teachers are born. This is when great leaders show up. This is when single moms turn into matriarchs. This is when single dads turn into icons. When you look at the sages of the names that we follow, the sages of business, the sages of personal development, the sages of mindset. These are not gurus wrapped in togas who came down off a mountain and said, I've got some news for you. These are teachers. They're individuals who lived on park benches for 2 years. Eckhart Tolle, when he had his awakening, went and lived on a park bench for 2 years. Stuart Wilde left his flat in London, threw the keys down in a drainage ditch, and walked away for 2 years. Napoleon Hill was a reporter. All of these people that we read books about, Wallace D. Wattles, all of these people just had their awakenings and they said, I'm going to share. Usually somebody pushed them, something pushed them, an idea awakened them. There's an idea awakening inside of you that the world needs to hear. You're that important. You are that amazing. Every one of you. And it could be that you're the one that's changing life for generations to come, because the generations that have been were ones that were of limit, were ones of doubt, were ones of fear and frustration. You sit today in the control center of the future generations of your family. Your family. Not your brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles. Your family. You have the capacity. You have the capability. You wouldn't be on this call if you didn't have an immense desire. Not because I'm all that in a bag of chips. It's because you're all that in a bag of glory. This isn't about doing things my way. This is about doing things your way. This is about doing things the way you were intended to. This is about awakening to your joy. This is about you creating that peace inside of you that you can stand inside of any storm. The storm comes up and it says, I am the storm. I will tear you down, and you stand strong in it and you say, I am the mountain. You can't move me. This is your moment. The world is in dire need of you. The world is in dire need of your pain, of your joy, of your source. Every one of you can do so much more than I can. Every one of you have been hurt so much more than I have. And some of you on here have not been hurt at all, and you're thinking, well, can I do anything if I'm not? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. Not everybody has had a torn childhood, although the odds are in their favor. Not everybody has had to live through some of the tragedies that we hear on these calls. And so we sit there sometimes and feel like, well, I had a good life. Am I the oddball out? No, because there's millions and millions of you who have been lucky enough and fortunate enough, and sometimes maybe not prepared enough, because sometimes tragedy still finds us. Sometimes tragedy still finds us. So what I would do for those of you that have lived what you would consider a better than average life, get to know those who haven't. Get to know those who haven't, because you can hear their pain. And when you start to connect with them at a level, at a heart level, not a brain level where you try to understand, but where you feel the emotions, where you can see it on their face, you can hear it in their words, you will be better prepared. And for those of you that hurt, when you hear somebody that hasn't been through the pain, look at what joy looks like. Look at how somebody can be. Look at how your kids could be if you're the ones that break the chains of repetition. Imagine your children being raised in a place where they don't know harm, where they don't know they're not good enough. Imagine giving them the faith to believe that the world is the most amazing place that you've talked to them about. It is absolutely exhausting to break those chains. It's why we need chain knitters to help you pull you away. See, to break the chain takes strength of pulling. That's what faith will do. Faith will pull you out of that hole. Not fear, not doubt. Faith pulls you through that. Being around other people who are faith. And when I say faith, belief in you. I believe that I sit here in front of you in days when I have some one-on-one conversations with you, and I'm able to say stories. And yesterday, the conversation with Bukumi, who I absolutely love and adore, it was the Holy Spirit that was guiding me. I'm not that smart. I'm really not. But I show up. I show up vulnerable enough. Brene Brown says in her book, show up with the soft heart and have the steel back. You can stand on my shoulders. And if you need to stand on my shoulders, do that. I will be there. I absolutely am in awe of the stories of the women that I hear on here. Chiquila, when I hear her speak and when she talks, when her boy comes in and gives her a hug and they just hug each other, my heart melts. Because that's what we desire. We desire to have more of what we want and less of what we don't. The 133 souls from around the world that are here right now, you are changing the world today. This isn't starting a movement on my street. Although that would be a good place to start for all of us. But this movement that sits here today, Sweden, Serbia, Croatia, Panama, the UK, Ireland, Texas, California. There's folks that got up at 4:30 this morning. I saw Corinne on here. This is personal undevelopment. This is personal undevelopment. The programming that's happening out there, the repetition. Listen, we sit here and we look at this and we say, here it goes again. This is starting again. This has to stop. You hear these words in papers and on television shows and in media. This has to stop. This won't stop. It won't stop until somebody like us, somebody like you stands up and says, it stops with me. It has to start with us. It's tough being alone, but here we are all connected. Here we are starting to know each other's names and know each other's stories. That's what a family is. And if this is your first time on this call, welcome home. Because if you're not sure where you're going, you're on your way back home. I don't know if this is where you'll be, this is where you'll stay, but I do know this, the fact that you floated through time and space and showed up here right now in this moment, we're blessed. Ann Poe, who's on here, I think she's on here today. I don't see that beautiful helicopter. She might have her camera on. Okay.
Here, Sean.
There you are. There you are. On her very first call, she gave us all wisdom. She said, this is my first call. And then we went into tears from there. How is that possible? And we get to know more and more about Anne. We get to know more and more about Jennifer when she shares her stories and she shares her light. And Jeremy, who's on here, and every one of you that's on here. And this morning, we get to hold Jasmine in our arms because she lost her dad. I don't know the relationship between them, if it was great, if it wasn't, if it was. But I know the relationship we have with Jasmine. This little 2x2 inch square that's on my screen, that is the entire world. That makes up a significant part of the universe for us. She's 1 in 135, not 1 in 7 billion. She's 1 in a couple of hundred versus 1 in 7 billion. And that's important for her to hear, that she's important to us. Every one of you are important. Diane Sweeney, who sits there every day and sends her smiles. Bob Parks, whose black and white little square shows up every day. The Rhonda Bird Parker, who wouldn't have said a mouthful if she had it a year ago, now sits and holds court. Leo the dancer, the amazing soul, who has his life partner, who sits there and tells us the stories about his mom and how he still falls in love with her every day. And sometimes frustration as well. How we vulnerably grow in front of each other in this community each and every day. AJ, Alex from Serbia, who has this young fire that's in his soul, stands up and speaks. Stephanie, who's got tattoos where she gets stung on the inside of her arm, and we come to find out a whole story about wasps and how powerful they are. And it stung her on a piece of luggage because it was a reminder from the universe to get your butt in gear and become ready to travel. How is it possible that on a call like this, we get to know each other? Katarine, you see her with her hair up. She's got those most beautiful pictures when her hair is out. She's got this desire and this story. That's absolutely. Nikki in Vegas, 4:30 in the morning, shows up. And we have conversations where she's running around taking care of her kids and dealing with all of the emotions of Vegas. This amazing soul who shows up and stands tall. Monique, an actress, has a YouTube show called Mouthful. And in that conversation, she has this conversation with 3 other amazing souls who talk about trials, who talk about tribulations. I would encourage you to go back and look at some of those conversations, because some of them are wildly strong. Nikki was Monique was like, well, I said, could I share it out when she first shared it to me when it aired? I said, absolutely, I'd love to share it out. She goes, well, it's a little strong. I'm not sure your audience. I go, it ain't about my audience. Is my audience. If they don't like it, they'll get over it. This is about supporting you. And there's nothing that really strong about it. It's a strong conversation. Julia, who sits here with in her beauty with the big hoop earrings, which I think are gorgeous, and then sits here and has a conversation with us and comes to tears because inside there's more. Inside there's a desire. Evelyn, I don't know. I know there she is up in the top corner. Evelyn shows up and she's this amazing, beautiful, brilliant soul who tells us a story about her Barbie doll and has us all in tears. This is a movement. This is an awakening. This is where we stand with each other and say, no more. You're worthy. You all deserve so much. And sometimes we can't be there for each other. Sometimes we want to wrap each other up in our arms and just say it'll be okay. Well, time and space doesn't always allow that. But every one of you is worthy of joy.
Love you, Sean.
Love you too. And there's Heather. You talk about another soul.
Love you, Sean. Thank you so
Love
much.
you, Sean.
Love you, Sean.
Love you
We
all.
love you, Sean.
Love
Love
you.
you.
Love you, Sean.
Love you, Sean.
Love you, Sean. Love you, Sean.
You're amazing, Sean.
Love you, Sean.
Listen, I can
We
only
love you, Sean.
I love you.
Love
I
you.
accept all of those. I do.
Love you, Sean.
I love every one of you. Hearing that wasn't the way I grew up. And I think that's the way we need to change it for all our kids. That's why when Mateo shows up or your kids show up on these calls, it thrills me to death. When Mateo stands there and he looks in the camera like this. And why is it that we even know each other's kids' names? Because that's what family does. This isn't a training call. Although we get some training. This isn't a motivational call. Although sometimes we get motivated. This is about stepping into our own lives. And this is why I've spent years wanting to figure out where is the programming that causes us to not step into our joy, for us to have these fleeting moments, for us to have to live our life on a vacation. Every 50 weeks, we get to go have a little bit. We get to have a speck of joy. We get to say, oh my gosh, in 2 weeks, I get to go on vacation. But every day, every other 350 days, 340 days, it's, I have to go to work. See, I started to hear these things when I was little. What's the difference between have to and get to? I get to go get an ice cream. I never heard anybody say, I have to go to the fair. I grew up in a time where you went to fairs and you had 4-H cows, and some of you in rural areas know that. Some of you, I didn't ever say, I have to go to I have to go get on a carnival ride today. I have to go get on a roller coaster. Can we go to Cedar Park? For those of you in Ohio or in the surrounding areas, can we go to Cedar Park? We get to go to Cedar Park. We get to know each other. We get to fall in love with each other. We get to get frustrated by each other. Because sometimes they share things with us that's right, and we don't want to give up the old story. Sometimes they share things with us, and we know it's keeping them from their story. Every one of you is a genius. Every one of you deserves to have a statue built to you. You do, with your story that already exists. And all we can just put down, all we need to put down on the bottom of it is the word courage. Every one of you deserves to have a statue built to you. And the big words on the bottom just say courage. Some it says faith. You sit today as a world changer. You have platforms that reach around the globe. What do I say? Say, I love you. Do a video that says, I'm going to say a prayer and blessing over everybody that hears me. Just say words of faith. Say words of that you believe in them. Let your audience know that, hey, listen, it's not always peaches and cream. It's not always rainbows, lollipops, and Skittles. And I'm gonna sound like I'm coming from an old black and white movie. And some of you youngsters, some of you amazing young souls who have tremendous influence. You're the leaders. You're the leaders of this world, the next generation. I would encourage you to look at the things that work. Look at the conversations that have been being conversed for 2,000 years. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, look at the Stoics. Those are those green and purple backgrounds where you see the little marble statue, those posts. I got a lot of you love the one by Seneca that said, throw me to the wolves and I'll come back the leader of the pack. Hear me. You have been thrown to the wolves already. You are being cast to the wolves right now, in this moment, with everything that's happening. And I know this beyond a shadow of my doubt. Every one of you is coming back the leader of the pack. With a determination that says, this does not work. This will not stand anymore. The leader of the pack doesn't have to hurt it. All it has to do sometimes is bark. And when it gives its growl and when it gives its bark to society and says, no more, not in my community. Every one of you is a leader of a pack. Every one of you is. Every one of you are worthy of that. And here's the neat thing about having a pack, having your tribe. They will lift you up just like you all did. You inspire me every single day. I get to get off this call, and if Rhonda's not saying, get back in your room, meaning on the Zoom, I just sat in awe of yesterday and spoke words of joy and honor and love over that amazing, strengthful woman, Bakumi. Over Julia, we have conversations. Over Leo, we have conversations. Over AJ, we have conversations. Over every one of you, Anne, and Gigi. And watching Gigi grow. Remember, you're doing all the work. To see when Jennifer shows up and her boyfriend sits there and he shares words from Sweden and he does translations, and we sit here and go, we would have never heard that. I don't think any of us speak Swedish. And so he does a translation right in front of us, and it's so absolutely breathtaking. Where else would we? I don't know any other call where I could have ever heard that. Somebody go, listen, could I share? It's in Swedish, but I'll translate. We're so blessed to see Shammy with her 3 amazing little children. This a brilliant young woman who is absolutely already just so strong in motherhood. Sometimes has days that says, I don't know if I'm enough. The thing that terrifies me is somebody keeping you from your light. You deserve to be in the light. And sometimes when you get put in the light, it's a little, your eyes squint. You're not sure about it. It's why it doesn't hurt to be reminded of our gratefulness. The world is a much better place with each and every one of you in it. To hear Michelle Davis, 50 years old, to go through what she went through, to tell her story, to hear Brittany, who is on a constant desire and drive, and her and I are texting back and forth because she has this tremendous desire to want to get clear on a mission statement, and she's absolutely brilliant. And she'll say things and I'll respond back going, I never saw you as a such and such. And she'll go, ugh. Her desire to serve, her desire to be the leader that she is, for her to not have to carry the weight of everybody else and still stand tall in her shoes, in her high heels, or in her flats. She's a giant. And I'll go back to Heather for just a second to see this young soul. Many of us talk about being in this mental prison. Some of you don't know the story, but she went on a trip to Colombia that was supposed to be this week-long trip that was supposed to be of joy and peace and just relaxation, because life hadn't been easy for this young girl from the age of beginning. And she winds up in a Colombian prison, one of those wrongful incarcerations that National Geographic did a story on her, a documentary on her, part of their Locked Up Abroad series. And so when we talk about being locked up, being put in a prison, being this parental prison, I just can't get out, for 3 years, she was in that, in Colombia. Didn't speak the language. She now speaks Spanish. One of her big goals, listen, ladies and gentlemen, one of her big goals, because this prison was for women, one of her big goals that we're working on, she's working on, is to put a playground inside the prison, because moms are allowed to have their kids there. And these kids, everything is dark and gray, and she painted rainbows in her cell. And finds this woman who doesn't speak English, but this woman, this amazing angel that was gifted to her, who was bringing her personal items, because they don't have that luxury in Colombia. You want toilet paper? Somebody has to bring it. So if you want to talk to somebody about being in prison and then keeping that story silent for 13 years, God granted me this gift called Heather. She taps me on a shoulder at an event. We're listening to Molly Brown talk about the gambling queen who was running the gambling, the true story. And she taps me on the shoulder and she says, I got a story a little better than that. And she's this peanut of a woman. She's this powerhouse of a soul. And she's carrying one of her little peanuts with her. And she brought her kids with her to the event, and they're sitting in the back, and I'm sitting there, and she taps me on the shoulder, and she says, I'm Heather. I've got a story a little better than that. I don't know how to tell it. And I fell instantly in love with her. Every one of you has this capacity. Every one of you has this greatness inside of you. We hear Moshe speak in on his very first call, speak into Rhonda, and speaks into her, where she's like, oh, these are words, these are God's words, these are words coming from the Holy Spirit. It doesn't matter how they got here, but there's being spoken into her, and this is his first call. It isn't our first call. If this is your first time on here, this isn't your first time here. You've been circling with us in time and space for eons. We just happen to show up in this moment in time together because the world said, I need an army. Heaven said, I need souls who will stand up and say, no more. And that's you. That's every one of you. RBP?
You always give me the right at the end. I'm like, wow.
I'll just break down again.
I know. I'm over here holding it together. I'm like, oh, and people just keep flooding this call. I'm sitting here, I'm listening to Sean, and I'm watching all of y'all, and I'm trying my best to read the comments at times. And then I'm letting people into the Zoom because I man the back side of this so Sean can be present with y'all, and he can be not worried about what's going on, who's in the waiting room and all that kind of stuff. So I get torn sometimes, but this is what I keep seeing. every person, y'all, it's 7:20 here, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. And people are searching for a place to listen to something that will inspire them or lift them up or get them out of where they're at, while feeding them something that's worth eating. And it is remarkable, the place that we have here. And I get to have conversations after this with Sean and with some of you guys. And I get to feel your heart, and I get to hear what's going on in your lives. And I get a little sad that others don't have this place. And I know there's other places, but they ain't this place. They ain't y'all. They ain't us. They're not a place where pure love, unconditional, for no reason other than pushing sign on. That's it. That's all you got to do to get here. And then when you're here, it doesn't matter whether you're first here or it's your last day here. We love you so much. And I am so, so honored that in a time like this, that we have the technology to be able to sit here and enjoy each other and keep circling in each other's energy and get to see it. We'll always be in each other's energy, but getting to see it, getting to see your faces. You guys speak into me. Y'all make my heart soar. Y'all give a little East Texas mama some amazing thoughts, and I get to share this love with everybody that comes into my path, and I get to share this love out on social media. And Sean and I were talking when this all first started happening, and he had mentioned when the whole COVID happened, he's like, this isn't the worst of it yet. There's more coming. There's more coming down the pipes. We've got to be prepared. We've got to be able to show people how much we love them. We got to be able to have a place prepared to where they can arrive and they can show up and they can feel loved and they can feel honored. And it's not going to be about building a business. You'll learn how. And I was thinking about that yesterday, and how I'm still in awe that this glorious, amazing woman, Bukumi, stood up and did what she did and said what she said and showed up in all her glory. And Sean and I were talking about that, and I was talking to a couple other people about it. We've said a few times, y'all said, what would Sean do, the WWSD, instead of what would Jesus do, the WWSD? And I was like, no, we can't have those bracelets. But what we can have is, what does Sean provide? And yesterday, if y'all go back and watch that call, and I would encourage you to watch it again and to share it. If you go back and watch that call, everything Sean has been teaching us for however many calls you've been on, he showed application yesterday. He showed exactly how to utilize what he's been teaching this whole time. And I don't know if you ever get around Sean in person, there's this, there's all these kind of moments, but there's this one moment where Sean he'll walk up to somebody, or he'll be talking to somebody, and he'll go, put your hand up. And it's kind of like a high five moment. And the person's sitting there with their hand like this. And Sean will put his hand to their hand, and he'll start pushing their hand, like you're pushing against it. And the other person, without hesitation, what do you think they do? Well, they start pushing back. And Sean goes, why are you pushing? And the person just kind of looks at him like, what do you mean, why am I pushing? He said, I didn't ever tell you to push. And what he's showing there is so many lessons in that. And he showed it yesterday. Bukumi came and was pushing with every right. She was pushing. She was pushing, and she needed to be able to push. Sean had his hand up because he was willing to be present in her life and at that moment. And he had his hand up, and when she came and she began to push, instead of Sean pushing back, he allowed his hand to go into his body, and when he did, Bukumi was able to fall on him. And then he was able to wrap his arms around her and tell her, anytime you push and I'm present, you'll fall into my arms. And that is an application we should all take note of. I know I did. I've seen Sean do it a lot. And to watch it happen on this call in front of all of y'all, that was application of everything he's ever learned. Every time you sit down with a prospect, every time you sit down with a loved one, every time you sit down with yourself, every time you have a conversation, when there is a push coming, instead of being prepared to push back and rise up and push back, most of the time the answer is to just release that pressure and let them fall on you and love them. And it's so beautiful how y'all do that. And y'all give me so much grace with my accent and the way I talk and the way I say things and the stories that I tell. Y'all give me so much grace that there's a lot of times I probably push on you a little bit. And every time y'all have not pushed back and you've just grabbed me and let me fall on you and y'all hug me and love on me. And I love that. I love that we have that. It makes me so warm and fuzzy, and it makes me brag on every one of y'all. I brag on y'all so much. I brag on how individual we are, but how alike we all are. And I brag on the love that y'all have. So I'm so thankful. I'm like Sean, I could get really emotional really quick, and I keep sucking back in the tears and telling the eyes, it's not now, not now, not now. And I just, where else do I get this in the morning? I'm sitting here eating my strawberries and my cheese and, drinking my coffee and in love, sitting here in love with a whole bunch of people. So I love y'all. Thank you, Sean, for letting me have a chance to chat. We can't hear you. You're muted.
Oh, I said great things about. No, I said I love you. Hey, Ann, I see you got your hand up. Y'all listen to this accent.
Hey, Sean, how you doing?
Outstanding, my love.
You and Rhonda are such cuties. I did not expect this conversation this morning.
Neither did I.
It was really, really nice to hear. Wow. That was really powerful. You guys are like my family. Like, I don't know if you think the same way, but for me,
from the moment,
are truly. And today, guess what arrived? My new journal, and I'm excited. I mean, I have one, but I liked this one better because it's bigger. But yeah, so I wanted to say loads of things, actually. Let me gather my thoughts for a second. Okay, so yesterday, me and Bukumi, we went on Instagram Live, and we did a little like conversation thing based on like Black Lives Matter movement and racism and etc. And I am so scared of lives. Like, I don't know why, but I'm like, I would never do it. But for this, I was like, this is a conversation that I really want to have. So we both went on, we were both nervous and scared, but it was really good. It ended up being a whole hour and we didn't even notice the time. And it was just amazing. Bukumi, if you have anything to say, by the way, chime in. But yeah, it was really nice to have that conversation and just learn from each other. And I think yesterday, after Bukumi asking you those questions, which kind of were planted in my mind before as well, allowed me to see that, like you can actually do something from a place of strength. So I think after yesterday's conversation, I think me and Bukumi left with strength inside of us and we were able to do that. So thank you to this community and to everyone.
I would encourage you all to get on lives together in strength, because to stand there by yourself is scary as bejeebies.
It is actually amazing to do something that you're so passionate about as well. So, and it gives you a really good feeling that you could journal later. But anyways, so the question I wanted to ask was, I wrote this down actually. Okay, so recently I was reading The Science of Getting Rich. Is that what it's called?
Yes, Wallace
Yeah.
D. Wattles.
And I can't remember the specific passage. I should have written it down, but I'm going to go back and read it anyways. But basically my question is like, how do you stay independent of good praise to steer towards servitude and kind of take yourself away from the thing that you're doing? So, you know, like sometimes you do something really good and you feel amazing, and then sometimes your old stories then come back and kind of put you in the center, and I want to know how I can steer away from that.
So Wallace D. Wattles says there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made that permeates and penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought held in that substance will be produced by the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we must move from the competitive world. There's another phrase that's in there in between there, but we must move from the competitive world to the cooperative world.
Oh, okay.
Maslow says, be independent of the good opinion of other people. So what he's saying is that we all too often say, don't let bad things tear you down.
Mm-hmm.
In network marketing, we have a phrase, or I've coined a phrase, they're reading their own press. What happens when you read your own press? If you tell everybody how good you are and you read it and you start to believe it, is it true? Not necessarily. That's what happens with some leaders who get on stage that wind up not being leaders, but just one person out for a walk because people stopped following them. So this idea that Wallace D. Wattles talks about is stay true to the now. And this is where you go back to Sadhguru. Sadhguru says there is only now. Every one of us knows there's only now. In this moment, you get to choose joy or misery. Mm-hmm. So regardless of all of the things that are happening outside, there's only your world. And your world has a filter on it. And it has a filter that lets things in, and it has a filter that lets things out. Right? So when good things happen, could they be better?
Yeah.
So then they're really not that good. Well, no, they were good. Well, no, not if you compare it in that way. So if you start to compare things that way and say things are good, but they could be better, then let's work towards better. Because when things are bad, they could be a lot worse. So bad isn't good. It's always just, it's a perception. It's how we start to gauge things. So the question is in this moment, Anne, what is your level of joy?
I knew you were going to go back to joy.
See, the student is already becoming the teacher.
But one thing I find really difficult is that when I set goals, I automatically, my mind, I know in Science of Getting Rich, it says to like focus on the now and stop jumping into the future. But my mind keeps going to the future. It's like everything I have to be like, and then I get overwhelmed and then I have to calm myself down.
So the goal that you have for the future,
mm-hmm.
let's just say, I don't know, you want to drink 8 glasses of water a day.
Yeah.
Something simple. When can you drink water?
Every single minute that you think.
Well, yeah, whenever you decide. But like, if you decide to drink 8 glasses, you could either do them all. But how much of the 8 glasses can you drink now? A mouthful.
Yeah.
We miss the moments, and the months pass by. This is what's called discipline. This is what's called decision. Michael Jordan said, once I made the decision, I never had to think about it again. And the challenge with any goal that we set, the goals are usually for us. Mm. Jeremy knows this best, dealing with people with trying to help them understand, to clean out their cupboards, to clean out their pantry, to pick an apple versus an apple pie. And then once you cross over and all of a sudden your body is rewired and set up for the success, it's hard to not do it anymore. We don't have TV. We have TVs, but we don't have TV. And there's usually something playing, whether it's Joel Osteen or Outwitting the Devil. We use them as just screens of information. But people call us and say, how are you in Dallas? Good. Why? Well, I'm seeing all of that stuff going on. Call it myopic, call it living in a shell, but I choose to stay focused on what I can do to serve me, my family, and the world in that order. Because if I'm out of sorts, I can't take care of my family. And if my family's out of sorts, my world is out of sorts. So you're going through a process right now, and you're going through an awakening that it's okay for Anne to be more of Anne.
Okay.
To experience yourself at a cellular level, as opposed to experience everybody on the outside giving you influence over how you should be right now, how you should feel right now. How should you feel right now? Who's guiding how you're feeling right now?
Are you asking?
Yeah.
Right now, me.
Yes. And so at what moment is it okay to take that authority away from you?
Never.
Okay. So then I guess you'll never have another bad day. It's not that easy. Okay. You just gave yourself that authority to not have it that easy.
You're going back to choose joy again.
Well, there is that.
Yeah.
And just be aware of it. That's why we have to check in. Too many people set a goal at 21 and at 65, they're dead. We haven't buried them yet, but they've never reached the goal. They've never gotten out of being 21 going, I'm going to change the world. Many people say I've got 30 years experience. The challenge is that it's 1 year, 30 times over. It's not 30 years experience. You've gone through more experience in the last 3 months being here than you have of the previous years, because they were just repetition. This is all new. This is why you're going through these new challenges. And it's like, you watch Michelle Davis and what she went through, 50 years of conversations and conversing. And all of a sudden from May 2nd, why do I know that? Because that was a huge day for her. She has it chiseled on a door frame. Look how tall I am now, May 2nd. You have these days on a regular basis. And that's the neat thing about growing. Do you know how much energy it takes for a seed to break out of the seed? Some seeds are able to, as just these little tiny seedlings, emit almost 1,000 pounds per square inch of pressure. How do you think it grows through pavement? A little tiny seed can emit up to 1,000 pounds of pressure. Your water pressure in your house may be 40, maybe 50 PSI, pounds per square inch. A seedling can break through concrete. You're a seedling right now, Anne, and you are growing and you are getting resistance. But here's the thing. Every time you come up against the resistance, every time every one of you comes up against the resistance, you break through. Could you imagine if you could have a microphone strong enough to hear the seedlings when they're coming through the ground going, you couldn't sleep at night. But when they show up, we go, oh, look at the seedling. And the seedling's going, do you have any idea what the hell I went through to get here? Do you have any idea? And sometimes we forget to water them.
Yeah.
How often does a baby eat? Every 2 hours. For God's sake, couldn't we figure out? No. And I think that the way God designed it is they eat every 2 hours so that we would absolutely be wiped out. That absolutely. Otherwise, we might get really angry at young babies. And sometimes people do. Yeah, they tried to bury me. Jessica says they tried to bury me. They didn't know I'm a seed.
Mm.
Does that help, Ann?
Yeah, I've got one more question.
Gotcha.
um,
Shocking.
I know. When do I shut up, really? So at the start of the month, I made a goal for my business.
Okay.
And for the first 3 days, I was working, but I was getting very overwhelmed.
Yep.
And then on the fourth day, I just felt like a salesperson.
Yep.
And I was like, I hate selling. I actually hate selling. I don't know why, but
Can I let you in on a little secret?
What?
You just sold me on you hate selling. Very well.
Oh, that's true. I don't like selling products. And
Then don't. What does the product do? What is the gift the product gives?
financial freedom.
What is the gift that financial freedom gives?
Freedom.
And what is the gift that freedom allows? Joy or misery?
Joy.
So then you're selling joy. Are you okay with selling joy?
Yes.
Okay, then talk about that. How many ways can you find joy? If you're a couple and it's on your second date and it starts to sprinkle and you fall in each other's arms underneath a tree, doesn't the rain bring joy?
Yeah.
If you're a painter and you just sanded the car and it rains, the rain doesn't bring joy because now the car rusts and you got to do it all over again. Change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. You're worrying about setting a 30-day goal. Here's where it might pay to set the goal for bigger. My goal is for 600 generations, 2,400 years from now.
Oh yeah.
Am I really trying to sell you on 2,400 years from now or trying to sell you on the moment? My goal is 600 generations from now for my names to still be spoken. What do I need? But I talk about the instant because there's only the instant, and the instant is now. And I'd rather you be in joy now than in joy later, because you can't be in joy later.
Mm. I think part of it is as well that I don't know. I mean, I'm not quitting, but I just feel like sometimes.
Well, no, I hope you are quitting. Here's what I want you to quit.
Okay.
Fear and doubt.
Oh.
You live in a house of faith and courage, and every time you open the door and fear and doubt showed up on the fourth day, and it's called, hey, we look like selling, and you're like, oh, I gotta come on in.
Oh crap.
Oh, I'm kicking him to the curb. Oh,
Hey, Sean, can I chime in for a second?
Hey, Daniela, please.
Hey, sorry, you guys, I'm doing laundry, so you probably can hear all this ruckus in the background. When Ann said that she's in the financial business and she hates selling, I'm in finance too, but I don't sell. I educate.
Well, let me put the brakes on this. Because we're going to get into using words, and all we're doing is Zig Ziglar's transference of enthusiasm. That's what sales is. We can use words, advocate, sell, transference of education. This is about your enthusiasm being passed on to the person listening.
Right, she's gotta find why she's even in the business, her why.
Mm-hmm.
Because if she finds her why, she's not going to see anything as selling or any prospecting or anything like that. She's building her why.
Well, and the challenge with somebody finding their why is that we can only go back to every moment we've ever been in trouble.
True.
Why do that? So what if we find our why not?
What if we what? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you for a minute.
Okay. We find our why not. And why not be happy? Why not be rich? Why not be able to take your parents on a helicopter trip to a glacier every year? Why not?
No, I get that feeling. I've been there.
Yep. So if we start to work from the, well, why not? When somebody says, why are you doing that? Say, why wouldn't I be doing that? Is it okay? Is it okay to have people who are happy in your life, Anne?
Of course.
And if people wind up with some financial freedom, do you think they'd be more happy or less happy?
More.
Then I would just say, listen, I partnered with a company that allows me to help people become more happy in this lifetime and pass it on generationally to their families. What if you had a conversation with people that said, what are you leaving for your kids? Most of them say, well, I don't have kids. Yeah, but that wasn't my question. I didn't ask you if you had them. I asked you, what are you leaving for them? Doesn't everybody want to leave something for their kids? Now, I understand some of Darren Hardy, who's got millions of dollars, says he's not leaving any of his nieces and nephews anything. He's going to donate it all. He says, because I worked for mine, they got to work for theirs. Now, on his deathbed, that may change. Funny how we do things. Does that help, Ann?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Sean.
And I'd start to fill in the journal and start to ask those questions and answer them. All too often, we don't have a conversation with ourselves out loud.
Yeah.
Cool. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too.
Thank you. And Daniela, your hand's up next.
Hey.
Hi. Mateo, we love you.
Well, I'm watching Cat in the Hat.
Cool. Cat in the Hat is good. Is that the one with Mike Myers?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a funny one. Cool.
Mm. I just completely lost my train of thought.
That's good. And not
right.
Good. Yep.
Oh crap.
Well, we'll leave your hand up and come right back to you.
Okay, sounds good.
I love you.
Love you.
Shardia. Good morning, Shardia.
Hey, Sean.
Hello, my love.
How are you?
Outstanding.
My question is, well, where I find myself at the moment is, after Bakumi's call yesterday, it really had me bring up a lot of the things that I was feeling. I was feeling sad, of course. And then I was also feeling angry. And then I thought, did I have the right to feel angry? Not that that was another human being, of course, not regardless of his color, that was still a human being. But I didn't know him personally. So I started to question my anger. And then I was going back and forth with that. I am angry because that was a human being, regardless of his color, but then I didn't know him. And it just got so confusing.
Well, so when you have those questions, because where the anger came from, if the anger wasn't there before the conversation, where was it?
Exactly.
And then, so I would ask, which part of you got angry?
Yeah.
Because that part of you is also a defense mechanism, right? The brain looks for two things. Will it kill me? Or how fast can I recognize the pattern? And anger shows up more often than not to be angry at the person, but to be a defense mechanism for ourselves. We become angry with the content and therefore we shouldn't have it, or we become angry enough and we start a charity and the Susan G. Komen Foundation has started. So is that anger turned into action? Does it serve the world? And if it's anger turned into action and doesn't serve you, then I would encourage you to look at things, do what Wayne Dyer says, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. But always ask, where does it come from? Because if it's not in there, if all of a sudden something triggers it, if something triggers joy, if a puppy comes in, or you see a puppy commercial and or a baby that's absolutely cute and laughing and you go, oh, and it changes your state. Where was that state at? was always inside of you. Everything that you want is as close as your skin. Anger, joy, misery, sadness. They've identified 35,000 named emotions. And sometimes we go through all of those in a day, and it's exhausting.
It really is.
Mm-hmm. So that's why we go back to choose joy or choose misery.
I guess in a situation like that, how do you choose joy?
Go back to so if you're having an argument with something that's not in the room, can you have a joyful argument with something that's not in the room as well? An old memory of joy, of recognizing that you're in this path of pain and resistance, and say, I can't do anything from this place. How can you feed your family if you're locked in a cell?
I can't.
So then I would choose to figure out, you hold the key. Who are you using as the key to unlock your door? Who locked your door? Usually anger and frustration, somebody else locked our door and we're beating on the inside, when we realize we're beating on the door to let us out, we should realize we're already on the outside. Boy, that was poetic. Has anybody ever listened to Eckhart Tolle? And if you listen to The Power of Now, that's almost the exact same sound that would drive me nuts the first time I heard it, whenever they had like a chapter change. Bing! It's like, wow, why do you do that? But that just brought me joy. That was absolutely perfectly timed. Does that help, Shardia?
Yeah, I guess for me, it kind of took me back. I don't know if a few weeks ago when I was working through some stuff and you said there were 4 stages, and, I kind of worked through the stages to the point where I was at the point of something new, a new state of being before excitement. And I think the first stage was anger. And I think this kind of...
Well, the first stage was fear.
Yeah.
And there it is again. Fear, sadness, excited, the new normal.
Yeah. So I guess
anger's not in there. Anger's not a part of that process.
No, it's not.
Because anger keeps you from facing the fear. And that's what Bakumi went through yesterday. Fear. I don't know how to say this. I don't know how to say this. Just please say it. Sadness. Excited. And the new normal. Pay attention to more of what you want and less of what you don't.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you too. Thank you, Sean.
Okay. Let's go back to Daniela. Let's see if it
Hey. No, it didn't, but it's okay. I got a different question anyways.
Okay.
It's okay. Maybe next time.
Okay.
So I was kind of faced with a situation where I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to help. I didn't know what to say. So I kind of just stood back, and I'm going to get into the situation of what happened. I kind of just stood back and let my friend talk.
Yep.
I have a really good friend. She's just going through some tough times, and she just feels very defeated.
Mm-hmm.
She feels that everything she tries to do, something gets in her way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's by herself. She's a single mom. I think she might lose her home that her grandfather left her when he passed away, but there was no will.
Yep.
And now her aunt is like trying to take it away from her. Yeah, I see that.
I really want to do that.
Okay. Whatever you want to do today.
Yay!
Okay.
So I can.
No.
No. Not playing right. So I can. So You can sign me up whenever you want to for singing class.
Singing class, yeah, we can do singing class.
Oh, and if you guys want to know, I always like singing.
That's awesome, Mateo.
Thank you.
So I just kind of don't know, like, I don't know how to help her, and if I can, like, I gave her some resources that I believe would help her, but I'm not even more concerned about the home as I am about her.
Right.
Like, I'm more concerned that I don't want her to end up in a dark place.
Right. So give her plan B, C, and D. Start talking, because plan A is already messed up, because when coming out of that world of probate, the grandfather said he was going to leave it to her, but it goes to first of kin when it goes through probate.
Right.
So all of that to be said. Now the challenge is that it gets separated. It gets spent across the lineage. So
right.
You may have to buy her out or pay for that portion. So that's all in probate. What state?
Ohio.
Yeah, that's going to be all messed up. So just figure that's gone and start coming up with plans B, C, and D.
Okay.
That's how you serve her.
She was.
If you did get the house, there's not going to be anything left money wise for anybody to do anything with. So if that's already starting off contentiously.
Right. Okay.
Yep, I would just start with plan B, C, and D.
Like, cause she was on the call this morning, but she got kicked out, and then she tried getting back in, and then she had a hard time getting back in, and then she like signed up for the app, for like the Zoom app.
Yep.
And then after that, she couldn't get in, and I was like, not weird.
Yep. But that would be my suggestion. Just serve her, be there for her, start coming up with ideas, start looking at alternate plans, and go from there.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Love you.
Love you.
Let's go to Sweden. I'm 99% sure Sweden. Jennifer. Good morning, Jennifer.
Hi, good morning. Or good day, as it is
Good day to you.
Hi. Hi. I just wanted to say hi and also like tell you guys a bit of who I am, really. I really felt that you need to know this, or like to get to know me and like feel the story behind me. So I am aspiring healer. I do Chinese medicine, and I'm really into that. And I'm really into spiritual stuff, and I really love to help people. That is my true calling in this life. And this past days, the past 2 days, I got the confirmation so much in my heart. I'm so happy right now. I'm in a place filled with so much love and so much joy. Like, I'm so freaking happy right now. And I got to help these 2 people. And I did tarot readings on them, but it wasn't even that made it so clear. But them telling me that they felt a pure energy, like they felt like I was pure. That was such a blessing. I just wanted to share that. And then also, you said my boyfriend before. It's not my boyfriend, it's my very good friend, but it doesn't matter. And I also have something to share with you, both in Swedish and in English,
Please.
If I may. Okay. So should I take it in English first and then Swedish, maybe?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the other night I was almost falling asleep, but then I got a message from like some spirit or Holy Spirit or something. But the message really hit me, and I really had to write it down like straight away. I just woke up, was clearly awake, and I had to write this down. And it was basically information about what our purpose is here, or mine at least. But what purpose is, and this is like hi. I was writing. It's about the life puzzle. I named it the life puzzle, and I said all the pieces you look for, or all the pieces that you miss, you're going to find. Everything you miss is going to come to you as a gift from every soul that you meet. Look open, good as bad, and see the meaning behind it. And if you see the meaning, you will recreate a better version of this situation, and to this situation as to your next. and the likeness, or like the how to say it in English. The similarities is in everything. Like everything is connected. Everything is similarities, and then similarities in everything. After you have analyzed your past and your present and your future, you will find all the possible puzzle pieces that you have been looking for, and you will continue to find them. And this is and finding your puzzle pieces is what's going to make you whole.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then it goes and it just gives you a wholeness. You get a feeling of wholeness. And then I wrote, if you're ever in the love's healing energy, may you forever carry it around and spread it like a dusk. What is it called? Dusk. Dusk around you. As you breathe in love, you also as you breathe in love and gratefulness, you also breathe out the same power. United in a body between Earth, planets, and the skies. You're here to find what the others before you haven't already found. Your power is love, and love leads your life purpose for this time. And be honest, and you will find the answers and the power. We're with you. We believe in you. I'm so happy and grateful now that everything is said.
I love it.
That was in English, but I wrote it in Swedish, so I will say it in Swedish as well now. Okay?
Please.
Okay. Så livspusslet. Alla bitar du söker kommer du att finna. Allt du saknar kommer som en gåva från varje själ du möter. Se över dina möten, onda som goda. Se läxan så återskapar du en bättre version av detta tillfälle som till nästa. Likheten finns i allt, men det är också förändringen. Efter att du har analyserat alla tankarna så finner du svaren och alla pusselbitar. Alla pusselbitar lär dig och ger dig en större helhet. Var för evigt i kärlekens läkande kraft. Och må du bära kärleken med dig och sprida den som en dimma runt omkring dig. Som du andas in kärlek, så andas du också ut den. Förenad i denna kropp mellan himmel, jord, planeter. Du är här för att finna det vi ännu inte funnit. Din kraft är kärleken. Venus och vågen styr ditt livsöde för den här gången. Var ärlig, så ska du finna svaren och kraften. Vi är med dig. Vi tror på dig. Och jag är så lycklig och tacksam nu när allt är klart.
Jennifer,
thank you guys. I just wanted to share some joy and some love to you. I'm so grateful.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you.
You know, folks, what Jennifer just did is what we have to do, what we're all doing every day. I'm speaking Shawneese, right? And then it needs to be translated into your language. And Jennifer just showed us that she's spoke it in English, and there was, how do I say that, or what's that? I think that's the word. But when she went to her mother tongue, when she went to her language, it just flowed. And that's what I think it's so important about education, and it's about personal undevelopment. It's not about piling things on that we we think are going to be better. It's getting to the language to us that we speak to ourselves. That's where Anne was at when she was asking her question. Because she's like, well, I know you're going to go back to joy. Well, yes, you're right, because joy is the language you speak. Joy is the language we were born with. That's why we were born laughing and smiling and being able to control the world around us with a smile and a giggle. So thank you, Jennifer, for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so filled with warmth and happiness and love for you. And I'm so grateful. You have a blessed day, everybody.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Love you.
That's the neat thing about being on a global call. We all felt Jennifer's joy flow into our hearts. That's pretty cool. I'm so excited. Bakumi, good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, Sean. How are you? I literally woke up like an hour before this call. No, literally on the call, let me not lie. I was like, Jess was like messaging me. She was like, wake up. But hi everyone, how is everyone doing? I hope you're doing well. So, Sean, thank you so much yesterday for letting me just vent. I feel like so much lighter, like since that call, like just being able to get out my anger or get out whatever negativity I was trying to hold up. So thank you so much for that, honestly.
Well, and I need you to hear this. Thank you for showing up. I'm honored. It was a joyous moment for me. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bakumi, for doing something so amazing. Okay, so yesterday, as Anne said, we did a live, and oh my god, like I was like fine with it up until like maybe an hour before, and then I was like, oh my god, like should I just should I just start? I was like, I was thinking of like different ways I could tell Anne, like, oh, like my body just shut down, like I was like, please, I was like, no, I can't. But I was like, oh, screw it, let's just do it. Like, so I jumped on, and I was like really, really nervous throughout like the whole of like it all. I think at the end I started to like really like just be myself. But I'm thankful to Anne. Thank you so much, Anne, for even asking me to do it, because I feel like I've grown so much from just doing that. But I was going to ask, please, what is a way I can, like, how can I serve people better through my lives and through my Instagram? Because I feel like through my Instagram, I've kind of just been doing it like everyone else, like just post a picture, maybe have a nice caption. Like, I feel like it's so, like, it's been done, like. So I was like, what is the way? Yeah.
Here's the key to all marketing. And there's a difference between marketing and there's a difference between marketing and sales. Marketing is giving people a chance to brag. Sales is giving them a chance to to fill that desire to brag. Right? So I would give people a chance to know you, Bakumi.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is just be you. I'd love to listen. I'd love to go on a live with you.
I wouldn't mind.
So just tell me when. We'll figure it out, a time and place, but I'll jump on yours and let me sing your praises, because you talking about you is bragging. Me talking about you is praise. And I'd love to do that because the world needs to know you. It's why I ask for testimonies. Listen, I'm pretty good at what I do. I know that. But the second I start saying, listen, I've helped this and I've helped that, people are like, you're an ass. Get out of here. But if you all show up and go, Sean really helped me through this. He gave me some insights on this. People are like, oh, maybe I should pay attention to him. But the second I go, listen, I've done a call now for 470 times and over 5,000 people have come through the call. What a dick. He's an ass. I don't even want to hear anything he has to say, because we don't like people bragging about themselves. People like to brag about us. And Bakumi, you are braggable. You are worth bragging on. Every one of you, you and Anne and Katerina and Gigi and Diane, every one of you, Jennifer, every one of Delia, everyone, Heather, all of you are braggable. We need to give the world needs a light like you, Bakumi. You're so unique, right? You're just absolutely energetic. You've got this short hair, you've got these braces, you've got this smile that shows up, you've got this energy, you've got this just absolutely gorgeous face. You're worthy of sharing joy. And listen, you can also talk about some of the heartaches. Talk about fear. How did you get through it? See, nobody wants to know that you've been through pain. They want to know, how the hell did you get out of the pain? Because everybody's sitting in pain. I bet the conversations you had yesterday, you and Ann on the call, was two strong women having a conversation about how did you get through struggle. Now, you may not have designed it that way, but that's what you did. I didn't listen to the call because I didn't know what was going on. Tag me in things. You guys tag me in things. Oh, well, I don't want to do that. Listen, everybody knows I'm a goofball and I hang out with some amazing souls. Tag me and stuff.
I will tag you. I'll tag you in it.
This way I get to know it's there. I can't keep up with everything, but I'd be happy to be a part of your world because you're a part of mine. So how do you serve more? They need to hear you, Bakumi. A picture doesn't do you justice. Your pictures are beautiful, but your message is your mess. And
by the way, guys, go and watch it. Like, it would mean so much to us. Like, the conversation is actually, like, I'm bragging, but the conversation is so good. Like, go watch it.
But here's the perfect example. And you saying that, people like, yeah, well, they're just saying that. No, I'm sure it's an absolutely brilliant conversation. And I am going to go watch it. But imagine if I get to say it, how wonderful it is, versus you saying it. That's the difference between marketing and sales. So I would encourage people to go watch it. Tag some people in a post on the comment. Go do a comment in that and tag me in it so I know where to go find it.
Okay.
Here's the other thing about sales, different than marketing. Make it easy for them to buy.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, if you've got something you want me to buy, quote, buy, tag me in it so I can go buy it. I can go buy the energy. I can go be a part of the energy.
That makes sense.
But Bakumi, that's why I have to do, listen, could you imagine if I did all of my calls like this? There'd be two people on the call, and it would be me and my cell phone, so I would feel like I'm talking to somebody. But nobody would be on the call because they wouldn't get to see me be doing this stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So I say all of that to say, we have a chance. People need to see us in the there's too much in a two-dimensional world. Even with everything that's going on outside, with all of the news, protesting, and everything else, that's still two-dimensional. It is so much different when you're there. And people need to see you. They need to be with you. And even then, I can't wait till the moment I circle with you in true time and space. I mean, whenever we all meet, there's going to be a day just for hugs. I mean, I can't imagine.
I know.
Bakumi, let's plan it. Me, you, let's go out and get Sean.
Yeah. Let's take a plane.
Yeah, let's
go. I'm here. Let's do it. So, but Bakumi, my suggestion to you, my encouragement to you is to let them hear your laugh. How many of you would just go and watch Bakumi's lives if all she did was laugh? I mean, we all would. And the world needs that right now. So there you go. Does that help, my love?
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Thank you for that.
Don't hesitate. If you're doing a video, if you're trying to do something for IGTV, or you want to go do a live and you want to send me a little 3 or 4 minute video to say, am I on target? What am I missing here? Just figure out a way to send it to me.
Okay, I will.
I'll be happy to. Listen, I need your messages out there.
Yeah, that's really gonna change. Yeah.
Cool.
Woo! Okay, thank you.
See that? That's the sound. That's the sound of joy.
thank, thank you so much, Sean. I love you.
I love you, Bakumi. Thank you. RBP, give us a wrap, my girl.
How do I wrap all that? Well, this is one thing. So I get real tickled. Sean throws out, you having a Rhonda moment? You need a fan, Sean? Sean throws out all these opportunities, and few ever take him up on an opportunity. So I took him up on an opportunity. When he said one day, here's my cell phone, and any of y'all can call me, I did it. I scared out of my skin, and I didn't know what to say. And I was like, ah! But I did it. And a year ago this month, actually a couple of days ago, is when I really, really decided I would utilize every opportunity Sean Murphy threw out. And some he didn't, some I made him throw out, is when my life completely changed. And when things that I knew were inside of me began to actually arrive. And if I could tell you one thing, and I'm trying to figure out the nicest way to say it, if he puts it out there and you don't take it, I don't know if I can finish my sentence on that one without it sounding mean. So, and Bukumi, if he's saying he'll do that, y'all better jump on that opportunity. But let me tell you something right now. As you jump on that opportunity, remember this. Get him while you can get him, because I'm keeping him busy. Because I'm not going to lie, y'all, I like him all to myself because I work his butt like crazy, and my life changes every time I do. So if he says, hey, I'm here for you, and I want to help y'all, jump on it. Your life will change as soon as you get out of the way and let some of this success come through. And if he's saying he'll do it, he means it. He's not one of these people that goes, blah, 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 and then you can never get a hold of him. No, he'll do it. I do it all the time. I work him all the time. All the time. He probably gets tired of it, but he doesn't. So step out and do that. And here's the other thing. If you look at my social media, my success, however you want to determine success, and I don't mean by followers, I don't have a huge following. I'm not worried about that. My success came when I started doing Bikumi what Sean said. They don't need to just see you, they need to hear you. So if you go back and you look, I do a lot more videos now. Are they perfect? No. Are they amazing? No. Are they Sean Murphy? No, I hope to God they're not. They're Rhonda. And they're me growing, and they're me showing anybody that anybody can do this. A 45-year-old mama in East Texas can do this. I know for sure you can do this. So get on, hear what he's saying when he tells you this. He's saying be present, be seen and heard, and get out there. And even if you have a little bit of content, but it's really good, but it only takes a little bit of time, do it anyway. Do it anyway. Because what I've learned is, are there some days where I have bipolar videos? Yes. But they still, tacos, but we still get there. They still get there. People still see it. And you guys can watch it and go, okay, she is a little crazy, but she's successful. And that's kind of hard to say coming out of my mouth. So hear him as he says he'll help you. And you ladies, you beautiful, amazing ladies, and you guys that are still here, that are kind of quiet today, still reach out to him when he says you can do it. And if you're nervous, and some of you are, you can reach out to me, and I'll help you with the courage to reach out to Sean.
The filter.
The filter. For some reason, I've become the Sean filter. And that's okay. I love it, because what it gives me is it gives me a chance to talk with you people. And I love I love hearing y'all and talking to y'all and seeing what you're up to. And then the other thing I do is if there's anything I want Sean Murphy to see, I will tag his butt in it. And I probably wear him out on tags, but I don't care because it makes sure he sees it. And I do it not to get his audience. I do it to get his attention for him to go, okay, this is what you did. This looked good. Maybe next time do this. So I hope all that makes sense. Kind of came down to a little bit of a training moment instead of like this, I don't know, whatever other moment. I don't know. So do what?
It was a perfect moment.
Okay. It was a perfect moment, y'all. So there you go. I love y'all.
It's my first call here, and I've never felt so in love for you. Aw. Thank you for sharing that.
And hang on. One more thing, Sean. One more thing.
Yep.
And I am going to be totally selfish on this. I am, I'm still doing a big push for Men's Health Awareness Month this month. And you do not have to be in my business to be spotlighted on my Instagram. So, I had a conversation with Jeremy the other day, and we're not in business, money-making business together, but we're in life business together. And he'll be spotlighted on my Instagram and on my Facebook and on my social media platforms. So if you are a man and you've got an interesting story, I would love for you to reach out to me because I'll spotlight you and I'll give you a big shout out. So I'm repping all the men this month and letting you know we love y'all. We love y'all. We need you around and we need you healthy. So holler at me. So shameless plug there. I love y'all.
And another thing, tomorrow we're going to have Dr. Amy Navato helping us with breathing. This is huge in reducing stress. She's going to walk us through how to breathe. She's done it before. It was a huge success. I love her to death. She does 100-mile marathons, and she teaches people. People hire her to run on mile 70 and help them to stay out of pain. She's also a world-class photographer. She loves penguins. So she's going to be on tomorrow. So you can invite everybody and anybody because tomorrow is going to be about how to deal with the stress and how to lower the discomfort in your body. Shammy, I see your hand up. I can't go away without talking to my little Shammy. And she's probably chasing 3 kids around.
Hi.
Hi, Shammy.
Hey. Guys, I just want to say thank you. I'm so grateful, and thank you, Sean. Thank you, Rhonda, and everybody on this call.
Hi.
Hi. This is our first week in our home, and I have to say, like, this community has kept me so grateful and strong, and like my hardest moments these past few months have been like the hardest because it's different. It's different to go through hardships. Oh God, he wants to show you God. It's just so different to go through hard situations by yourself than with kids. And I just want to say I'm so grateful and thankful for this community. It's really been such a big support these past couple of months for me. And I'm so ready to like be a lot more focused and have my own space to be able to focus on my own goals and stop talking.
I want a puppy. I want a puppy too. I want a puppy too.
That's what I just wanted to say. I'm grateful for you guys.
You didn't play
Bye, guys. I love you.
We love you. We're so happy that you're moving forward and having more of what you want and less of what you don't. You're a huge part of our community, and your heart is always just absolutely joyous to have you here. So I appreciate you. And there you go.
Thank you.
So, folks, you took me through some roller coasters today. I'm grateful. I'm honored. I appreciate you. Tomorrow it's 8:30 Central Time, so 2 hours later. You get to sleep in a little bit. But I appreciate you. I enjoy all of your smiles, and your eyes light up the world for me. So I'm Sean Murphy, your head misfit. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all send some love to each other.
Love y'all. Have a
Love you
great
guys.
day.
Have a great day.
Love y'all.
Have a great
Go
day.
be
Love
awesome.
you.
Yay!
Have an amazing day. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you.
Have a great
Bye,
day.
guys. Love you.
Love you,
Love
Evelyn,
y'all.
Roz, and
Love y'all.
Lydia, and Amy, Samantha, and love y'all, and Diane, and Kennedy, and Delia, and Heather. Hello, Heather. I love you.
I love y'all.